I give you all of me, and you give me all.
Hello? Hello? Are we still doing the interview?
Sorry, John. I got a little bit carried away there. You know how it is. So welcome back to the 3-hour news show. We are today joined by a very special guest, the man, the myth, the legend, 12-time Grammy Award-winning singer, songwriter, producer, and actor, John Legend. John, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
All right. So, John, thank you so much for making the time to do this interview. Of course, as you can imagine, everyone here in Indonesia and Jakarta especially are really excited for your upcoming show, An Evening with John Legend, a night of songs and stories. Now, could you tell us a little bit more about this show and what has the preparations been like, and what makes this show different and more special than perhaps some of your previous shows?
Well, it's a very special show. It's a solo show. As the title suggests, it's an evening with me, and I'm by myself on stage, singing and playing the piano. And then between the songs, I tell a lot of stories about my career and all the things that made me who I am, all of the little stories that give you more of an idea of why I've made it to where I've made it in my career. Some of my upbringing, the people who taught me to play the piano, my family, some of the ups and downs in my family, and then a lot of the interesting stories about some of the songs that you love, like Ordinary People and All of Me, and how I got my name. There's all kinds of interesting stories that I tell during the show, a lot of things that people didn't know about me until they come to the show. And people laugh, they cry, they're inspired, they're moved, and they get to hear a lot of their favorite songs of mine, and some of the songs by some of my favorite artists that I cover that have inspired me through the years as well. So it's a really special show, nothing like anything that I've done before in Indonesia, and I've been doing this solo show in the US and in Europe, but this is the first time I'm bringing it to Asia this week.
So yeah, it seems like a much more intimate show than what most concert goers are used to, which is just, the artist comes up on stage and they sing their favorite songs and then that's it. So what inspired you to make this sort of concept for like a really intimate, like sit down with John Legend and tell your stories and be so intimate with the guests? What inspired that sort of concept?
One, I love doing it, and I feel like people love hearing me do a show like this, because sometimes when you strip the songs down to just voice and piano, they connect more to your heart. You feel the show more. You feel every single note that I sing. It's a very special way of experiencing the music, and I love doing it. And I find that my fans really love hearing and seeing the show like this. And most of my fans that come to this show tell me it's their favorite show of mine that they've ever seen. I think because they enjoy getting to know me better, and they like how different it is from any other show they go to.
Right. Of course, that's such a treat for fans, you know, like to be able to not just listen to the songs, but also really get to know their artists. But like, this is your first solo concert in Indonesia. However, I believe you've actually already played a show previously in Indonesia all the way back in 2010, is that right?
Yeah, I was there in 2010, and we had a wonderful time. And my wife and I visit on holiday sometimes as well. We've been to Bali a few times, and so it's exciting to finally come back and perform a concert. And like I said, this concert is like no other one that I've done before, and so I think it'll be really special.
It's quite a long time since that last show. It's more than 10 years. What was your impression of the Indonesian crowd during that first show, and like, what are your expectations for fans for this upcoming show?
Well, it's hard to remember from that long ago, but I know that we've been to Indonesia on holiday, so we've had a lot of contact with the Indonesian people, and we've loved visiting when we've come. And so we're very excited to connect with the Indonesian audience, experience some local culture, some great Indonesian food. I'm excited for all of that.
And of course, you say like you've traveled a bunch to Indonesia as well. Do you happen to get noticed all that much when you're out and about just traveling in Indonesia?
Sure, that's okay. I don't mind being recognized. That just means that people are enjoying my music all around the world, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I hope our countrymen have been respectful to you and your family when you're doing your.
Of course they have.
And circling back to what you said about traveling to Indonesia, the food and everything. Of course, Indonesia is really famous for their food and beverages. Any like particular thing that like is your favorite or you're really looking forward to trying out?
You should tell me what I should try.
Okay, all right. Well, since you love going to Bali, I'm actually from Bali. So
Great.
Yeah. So I think I would definitely recommend you get some suckling pig. It's babi guling, it's called. I'm sure you've probably had it already.
I've had that, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we spent several weeks in Bali multiple times. So we've had lots of Balinese cuisine. We took Balinese cooking classes, and so we've had a lot of food, especially in Bali.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying that stay. I hope you get to see more of the country when you're here because, of course, it's not just Bali. There's so much to explore.
Many more islands and lots of different flavors.
Yeah, but you're a busy guy. I know it's a tour, so when you come back for leisure, and you can take a look around a little bit more.
Yes.
So, of course, again, about the tour. This is your first, I believe, major global tour since the pandemic. How does it feel to just go back to touring after a decently long hiatus?
Yeah, well, I was touring in the US and Europe before, but this is the first time coming back to Asia since I did a 2018 tour in Asia. And so I'm very excited to finally be able to come back to Asia. The pandemic separated us for far too long, and I'm excited to finally be back.
So for this upcoming show, you're also going to be joined by a local Indonesian singer, I believe, Yura Yunita. Can you talk a little bit more about that, like what that collaboration is going to be like?
Well, she's going to open the show. We have 2 opening acts, and I'm really excited for that. But my show will be more about, my own stories and my own songs. But we wanted to connect to the Indonesian culture and Indonesian artists and make sure that we featured some great artists from Indonesia during the show. And I'm really excited about that.
Right, and the culture is like a big thing, of course. And you said that as you've traveled Indonesia, traveled to Bali, you've really felt like connected, I suppose, to the culture there. I mean, it's really beautiful, of course. Is there any influence from the culture or things you've experienced here that will go into the show or into the music that you'll be playing?
Well, I think the opening acts will certainly reflect the Indonesian culture. And then when I play it, it's really about telling my story, talking about where I'm from, and all the things that influence my music over the years.
So, of course, that show is like incredibly intimate. What sort of message do you hope to convey to the audience later in your show in Jakarta through that music and through that performance that you'll be doing?
Well, when people come to the show, they laugh because I have some funny stories about my life. They cry because there's some really moving, emotional stories about my life as well. And I think they're inspired by everything that went into my career becoming a success. And so I think people will leave feeling inspired. They'll have their heart spoken to by the music and by my life and my story. And we'll have a really beautiful night.
So, of course, you'll be telling all about your stories, like you've mentioned. During the show or the previous shows, has there been a particular story that you love telling?
Oh, there's some funny ones about how I got my name, about some of my life as a kid in Ohio growing up, a pretty nerdy kid, shy kid growing up in Ohio. And I love telling those stories. But I also love, telling about the hard times that, we've experienced in my family and in my life that helped make me who I am as well. Because I think everybody needs the good and the bad to kind of make them who they are.
No, now that you mentioned it, I am getting a bit curious. Like, how did you get the name?
You got to come to the show, and I'm going to tell the story. It's a really fun story.
I can't get a little bit of a sneak peek?
Well, I'll just tell you that the first person to call me this was a spoken word artist from Chicago. His name is Jay Ivy. And we were working together on Kanye's debut album, The College Dropout, back in like 2002. And that's when I was first called John Legend. But there's a lot more to it, and I'll tell the rest at the show.
All right, you know what? Fair enough. Like it's gotta be there. It's gotta be at the show. Like we don't want to spoil that, But of course, again, about the show, for those of the audience out there who haven't bought a ticket or are still on the fence about going to an evening with John Legend, can you tell us a reason why they should definitely come to the concert?
Well, I think any of my fans, anybody who loves my music, anybody who wants to get to know me better, I think people really love the show because it's so intimate and they really connect with my story. And most of my fans that come to this show tell me it's their favorite show of mine that they've ever seen and one of their favorite shows of all time, period. So it's different though, it's intimate, it's quiet. Some shows you'll go to and there's lots of dancing and band and all these things. This is the opposite. It's very stripped down and just me and you. And I think it's really special because of that. And if people are interested in that, I think they'll have a beautiful night.
Of course, I think any fan of yours doesn't need any more convincing. They're already buying their tickets. They're already lined up. They're already ready. But for those of us who unfortunately can't attend the concert, can I ask for just a little bit? Can you do a little bit of can you sing a little bit for our audience back home? Just a little bit.
All of me loves all of you. Love your curves and all your edges, all your perfect imperfections. Give your all to me. I'll give my all to you. You're my end and my beginning. Even when I lose, I'm winning. 'Cause I give you all of me. You give me all of you. Oh.
Chills. I'm getting chills. Incredible, man. Thank you so much for that. So that pretty much concludes our interview. Thank you so much for that, John. That was incredible. I know that the fans in Jakarta are going to get quite the treat when they see your show very, very soon. Again, thank you so much for joining us and all the best to you.
Thank you.
So that was our interview with John Legend. Be sure to catch his show, An Evening with John Legend, a night of songs and stories, later this 6th of October. This has been Aris Darta and Andre Saputra. And for everything else, keep it here on See Today.